Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sing. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. Shout out to the black men that spoke on this video because all the stitches, black men were very consistent with saying, you do not speak to black women like that. Don't you ever come out and talk about black women. I already love it, how protective they are. So now for those that will be asking what happened and why did that man say what he said, you all remember sometime last year there was a controversy like those British men that came on Andrew's show to talk about black women in not a good way. And conversation spread and people were not happy about the conversation they had with that man, Andrew. Now, Kendrick Lamar released song and he talked about how these people get themselves into black women's business. And he said that he does not want to see them talking about black women, which is a welcome. I love it because you all should stop coming for black women because I do not see black men telling you people what to do and what not to do about your women in your community. So that did not sit well with him. And though he did not call names, right? So Andrew came on his show to talk about how he is going to break Kendrick Lamar. Now, let me tell you something. This is to tell you how these people feel about black people because anybody that could wake up and talk about something like that, it means that person does not see you or do not feel like you are human enough. Let's get into this.
Just Kendrick. I would make love to him. There's nothing he could do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar. I would make love to him, and the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not. That's the only thing he could do. If it's me and Kendrick, this is about physics. It's about physics. I don't even know if I'll get hard. But if we're in a cell, there's a chance that if we're in a cell and we're bored and we done tattooing each other, whatever you do in the cell, and we ran out of board games and we did all the other things, we cleaned everything, and I'm like, man, I might as well fuck you. There's nothing he could physically do to stop that besides put his legs in the air and choose a position. Maybe I'll let him choose a position.
Number one, wasn't a buck breaking is going on here? And why did that comedian be so offended by saying, hey, you shouldn't talk to women this way? And why did the other dude find it so hilarious? Number two, I can't decide if this mustache remind me of a Adolf or a corn star. Which round y'all think? Number three, he just revealed that there are particular men like him that really want to conquer melanin masculinity, if you can catch my drift. Number four, what does it say about him that he didn't went into this little racial innuendo about being in a jail cell? And this is where he admits that you want to make love to Kendrick Lamar. What? Number five, he then went into detail about how his piece would be and what positions they'll be in. Oh, he really thought about this. Number six, what he's doing is not comedy at all. It's literally getting off on all his little dispositions about racism that he really got in the closet. But the closet is glass. It's see-through. We see you. Number seven, this man is really insulting our intelligence, trying to disguise microaggressions and implicit bias towards people that look like me as comedy. Man, you ain't even got no punchline in the shit. My last point, you want to know why this man was so comfortable in going in like this? Because brothers like him create climates that always make folks like this feel comfortable in getting up what they gonna say in the name of being comedic and freedom of speech, man. Education is elevation, and stop playing with us, man.
There is nothing funny at all about anybody threatening to essay another human being. I don't care if it's a woman to a man to a woman, two women, two men. I don't care. There's nothing funny about that. It's not a joke. I'm a survivor of essay. It's not a joke at all. And to put it in a different perspective, especially if you are a white man, why would any white man, comedian or not, try to joke about taking advantage of another man sexually that is black? Do you not know what butt breaking is? See, comedians, they have to have a certain level of intelligence, correct? When they're saying these tired little jokes or whatever the case may be, they have to have some form of like backing behind it, right? They should know about what they're talking about before they say it, right? Right? Because what made you think in your right mind it's okay to even say that? Why? Because Kendrick sat here and said, "Hey, don't let these white comedians talk ish about black women," and that made you so mad you want to say a weird essay joke, and then you want to sit here and and act like you care about women in the hip hop community or how male rappers portray women in the hip hop community. You don't even listen to rap. You don't even care. This guy Andrew Schulz, whatever his name is, you're a weirdo, bro. Like, ew.
Okay? Don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law. Now, technically speaking, if we're going off of grammatic English, okay, he's saying I can talk about black.
Andrew Schulz, don't worry. You'll meet the K-Dot cult members very, very soon, and they'll make quick work out of you. However, let me just do my little HQ theory and get up out of here, because the thing about people like Andrew Schulz is your techniques, this little technique that you're doing can work on other people that don't have a brain. Luckily, people like me, we have somewhat of a brain. So first and foremost, I watched a full clip of Andrew Schulz responding to Kendrick Lamar, and it's very interesting how people with a little bit of racism in their blood, or a lot, whatever you want to call it, they always go back to their factory default settings. You just got to know how to catch them. So first approach that Andrew Schulz takes is he starts making fun of pretty much what's AAVE, which is used in rap a lot, right? Like, that's your first angle. But it's not even making fun of it and being funny. It's pretty much the same thing I've been dinging Andrew Schulz on this issue from the get-go, which is the jokes are bad. If the jokes are good, no one will laugh harder than the people you're making fun of. All right, that's number one. And then he parlays that and moves on to start talking about Kendrick Lamar's hypocrisy. Now, mind you, I'm not one to say that there's not a point there. But I also think sometimes K-Dot can be misunderstood. But what I don't like is he starts doing the subtle, what about black on black crime thing to sort of push the attention away from what he did. And when he does that, he makes you forget more and more and more and more what the reality of the issue was in the first place. And the reality was, Andrew Schulz, not only were the jokes that you were giving James and Fuhad not funny, they were ill-timed. They felt like they were specifically targeted for no reason, which is why people were mad at James and Fuhad for not checking you. Right? So you're playing semantics. Andrew Schulz, I'm not stupid. Right? You're playing semantics. You're making it seem as though Kendrick Lamar came out of nowhere and said, white comedians can't make fun of black women. Comedians can make fun of whoever they want to make fun of. Have great timing, land a joke right, be funny. You had none of those. You specifically targeted black women out of nowhere with James and Fuhad. So anyway, there's that. And this is what people with, I call them like diet racist people do. This diet racism, right? They play games like this because on the technicalities, was Kendrick Lamar's grammar correct there? No. But it's a culture thing. And rap, that made sense to anybody that's rapping. In technicality, is he pointing out something that is harmful? Yes. In technicality, are you pointing out, maybe, the language in rap and the disturbance? That's correct. Yes. But you're doing the whole look over there, don't look at me move. And then you're playing innocent. It's like, oh, because I said a joke, how can you say all these violent things in rap? No. Same way there's subtle things in rap. For example, if something like Kendrick Lamar is telling a story about where he's from, right, and the experiences he went through, that's a little more subtle than someone that's just out here peddling, yo, pew, pew, put the pew to your head, right? Then you involve a whole bunch of other rap people. That's not what Kendrick Lamar does in most of his music. You see what I'm saying? We could do this all day, but I would just be chasing my tail. Andrew Schulz, go to hell, brother.
Who gave Andrew Schulz a platform? Who was the first black person to put him on to the fact that we have to keep seeing this buffoon? Was it Charlemagne? Was it Joe Budden? Was it one of those? Because what is this shit? You made your derogatory remarks about black women. We all heard them. And we held the black men who laughed in your face to task about it. Another black man has said, In response to that, don't ever let no white man play in a black woman's face like that. And Andrew's response, that I'm sure he was like, this is so delicious, so sweet. I'm going to set up a grape joke. I'm going to establish a hypothetical situation in which, let's assume Kendrick's goons are not in the way, and let's assume that we're in jail. I could definitely take advantage of him. And then posted it. And now we all have to watch it. He's not a comedian. I feel like people like to call themselves comedians because they're like, they can get away with whatever the hell they want to say. This is not a comedic moment. This is like something you should put somebody on a list for. This is something to watch out for. This is racism. This is misogynoir. This is a lot of things disguised as comedy. He's not cutting edge. He's not smart. He's just racist. Period. Because nothing was funny about it. He's not even a funny person. He's not even funny.
It has consistently been proven time and time again that a hit dog is gonna holler. Kendrick Lamar didn't name Andrew Schulz by name. He just said, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That can apply to a lot of white comedians if we're being honest. Andrew Schulz believed it was him. Most of us believe it was him. He then goes on a segment pretty much, well, what about rappers? Well, what about this? Well, they get to talk about it. Why don't I get to talk about it? And then he got his little token black guy in the corner just cheesing away laughing. Not the first time he's done that. And then somehow we get to a segment where he says that if they're in a cell together, he can take advantage of them. How did we get here? There's always something to be said about white people getting too comfortable. You do the podcast with Charlamagne the Guy. Ain't no telling what Charlamagne is letting slide. I don't watch their podcast. But Charlamagne be letting stuff go sometimes. He picks and chooses when he wants to talk about something. Especially if it can make him look like the good guy. And I don't know. You just get too comfortable just doing little stuff. Pretty sure Charlamagne's been on more episodes after that. The British dudes was on there. So, I don't know. I just think it's weird. And it's just like, just weird. It's just weird. White people consistently have shown when they're called out for something, they immediately fall back to the, well, what abouts? Or who's going to stop me? And it's just like, y'all got it, bro. Don't even worry about it.
Andrew Schulz's response to Kendrick Lamar was so wild that he left Kendrick Lamar with only two options. You either squabble up and fight him, or you just ignore him. He said he would put Kendrick Lamar's legs together and make sweet love to him. And it got way worse. No, did he? If that isn't diabolical, then I don't know what is. Now, you might be thinking, why is Andrew Schulz talking all that crazy talk to Kendrick Lamar? I don't know if you remember, a couple of months ago, Shits and Gigs went into the Andrew Schulz show. And Andrew Schulz made a couple of jokes towards black women. After the episode aired, people were going at Shits and Gigs like, how are you going to let them say that? Then Shits and Gigs came back with, we didn't say it, he did. And also said that they looked awkward when the joke was being told, and apparently they told Andrew Schulz to move on during their apology speech. Then the plot twist happened. Andrew Schulz makes a response to them saying he sent them the footage and asked them if there was anything they wanted to be removed. Apparently Shits and Gigs asked for a few things to be removed, but they left that specific line in. Backfired. It was stress for Shits and Gigs. Andrew Schulz, being a comedian, he just moved on with his life and kept doing what he was doing. Then on Kendrick Lamar's new song Whacked Out Mural, he said the line about don't let no white comedian speak bad about black women. And in this new episode of Andrew Schulz's show, he spent like 25 minutes just going at Kendrick Lamar. Most of them were laughing at the beginning except the black guy. You can see how awkward it felt in the video. You know, the one there. Now, Andrew Schulz's discourse was around the fact that he's a comedian, that anybody can get these jokes, and if you marginalize a group, then it means that he's actually trying to be offensive to the other groups except one group. From Kendrick Lamar's perspective, he's like, protect our women. This is about culture, and we don't want someone out of the culture saying something negative about people that we care about. But if you've heard it, let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like some jokes shouldn't be said, or everybody should be able to make jokes about each other?
Said that Andrew Schulz was going to be gassed about Kendrick Lamar mentioning him in his latest album, and what Andrew Schulz ended up saying about how if he wanted to sleep with Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick couldn't stop him was so much worse than I would have thought. He starts by saying, oh, well, you're welcome, Kendrick Lamar. Is rap so dead that you need to start talking about comedy now? Comedians are up. We're the second biggest headline from the album. And then he starts saying if he wanted to sleep with Kendrick Lamar, there's nothing that Kendrick could do about it, except for call it non-consensual. Now, how this came from a line about not speaking on black women, that's law as a white comedian, to, I'm just gonna essay and I know it's meant to be a joke about, I guess, his height. And what white men love to do is say, oh, this black man is so powerful and has all of this cultural credit in one way. Let me make fun of how powerless I could make him in my way. If just me and him were in a room together, how could I humiliate this black man that means so much to so many people? Because it always comes back to, well, how can I show my dominance over this black creative as a white creative? That's the tone. He's saying, oh, Kendrick Lamar, how can you be at the Super Bowl saying you want to protect black women? Well, regardless of what that conversation is, and there is a conversation to be had about like him wanting to take all his music off Spotify for R. Kelly. Andrew Schulz is not the one to lead that conversation. Do we understand? Like, as a case study, Andrew, and I'm not saying I don't think a lot of people are on Andrew Schulz's side, but Andrew Schulz is trying to take the context of Kendrick Lamar being at the Super Bowl and saying that Andrew Schulz shouldn't speak on black women. He's like, well, do you really protect black women? Do you notice how that is a valid point? Not for him to make. As somebody who Andrew Schulz, who consistently makes fun of black women, is not the one that we're going to listen to that from. But it's interesting how he goes from being like, oh, I'm a rancid comedian, like, I could sleep with Kendrick Lamar if I wanted to, well, why didn't you care about R. Kelly then? Like, it's kind of fucked up that he does have access to, like, some certain woke lines in his brain, and maybe that's what made him this comedian in the first place. But don't let him speak on black women. That is law. Don't let him speak on Kendrick. That is law. I had said that Andrew Schulz was going to be gassed about.
So Andrew Schulz, I guess he ain't like that comment Kendrick made on the GNX album, whatever. So first he said, oh, he can't take a joke. All right, regular response, then he was just going to go about it. So then his next response is, if me and Kendrick were in a room together, I'd fuck him. Now, I don't know if dog be around so many niggas that he feel like, you know, he got a little get bad in him or whatever, or like he just not a bitch. You know, some white guy's like, I'm not scared of you. Maybe that's the thought process that is going through his mind. Cause like, I want to know where's the joke in you saying you're going to emasculate a man? Like, that's weird to me. I don't get the comedy. I get you trying to say that Kendrick's a bitch, I guess. Motherfuckers have offered you fades. So will you be a bitch too? And you did that when a nigga ain't even say your name. A little crazy, but that's none of my business. Same thing with Adam 22, right? The dude gets up there and he was telling him, I don't like Adam 22. I don't agree with how you did that shit. He's basically trying to spin a narrative. And he's like, yo, all right, so if I ask you to box, is you gonna box me? This nigga Adam said, why would I box you after doing... But mind you, Adam be calling niggas hoes, bitches, you ain't really about nothing. So he said, so I asked you to step outside and box, you gonna box? Why would I do that? For clout chasing? Why would you let a man fuck your wife? What the fuck? And that be the weird shit, right? It'd be like, we let these hoe ass niggas get in our culture. Bitch ass niggas, mind you. Like, again, you don't gotta be tough. But one thing I'll never respect is a man who won't stand on his own too after disrespecting somebody. You know what I respect about niggas like Paul Mooney? You know what I respect about people? You be an asshole, talk shit about you on stage. Meaning you can come after the show and say whatever the fuck you want to say to him. And he invited it. God rest Paul Mooney's soul. We need you, bro. These niggas don't do it the same. They talk shit and then try to make rationalizations and play victim. No. That's not how you do it. That's not how you're a real shock jock. Say that shit with your whole chest and stand on it. Say that shit with your whole chest and stand on it. That's all we ask. Just say it with your whole chest. But y'all don't want to do that. Y'all don't ever want to just violate the culture and just be like, yeah, I don't fuck with you niggas, I'm violate. No, it's always you can't take jokes. It's not a fucking joke. It's not. Comedy is a way for people to convey their truth. You're not making shit up when you're saying this. You feel this way. You sat on it for months. This is a real thought process to you. So don't spin the narrative of like, oh, people can't take jokes and all that. Bro, what the fuck type of joke is you sexually assaulting a man? If you were alone in the room, and where's the joke? Because the only joke is you're saying that he's a bitch. But you're saying he's a bitch because he told you not to disrespect black women. Oh, I'm just joking. Your jokes don't be funny. So at that point, you're just disrespecting black women. Now, the reason why I argue some of them coons and sambos sit there and allow you to speak that way is because they also feel the same way about black women. So why would they stop you from saying something they agree with? Oh, well, they always tripping. Yeah. What the fuck you mean, yeah, they always tripping? Where the fuck you come to that conclusion from? And not to say that we don't have our own issues with black women in our community, but some niggas need to learn this, right? Dame Dash said it best, like, if we're gonna criticize each other, we're gonna do that on our own platforms. We're gonna do that with each other. If I'm gonna say, oh, I got issues with black women and do this, that, and the third, then I'm gonna do that on a channel with black women there, so we can have an actual conversation. Because we can disagree in our community about things in our community. But we can do that. Your ass sitting there outside of our community, having a say-so about our community, while not really respecting our community, is a motherfucking problem. And in political news, Donald Trump's cabinet picks are like falling to the fucking wayside. Matt Gaetz, that nigga had to resign himself. Who was the dude supposed to be the Secretary of Defense? I guess he resigned himself. Leader of the Pentagon, Hegseth, whatever the fuck his name is. Liable for sexual assault multiple times and a drunkard. They can't afford any Republicans now that the Democrats won the House. So the only positive we got for these 4 years is that they're going to be blocked and fought at every juncture of trying to push these authoritarian legislations. But if we saw what happened in South Korea, where that motherfucker declared martial law, and it took them literally climbing over fences to try to impeach that nigga, we may be coming to those hard times. Now, all we can hope for is that our military has the spine to not allow somebody to basically become a totalitarian ruler over their country, which would have them hurting their own people. But then you have too much faith in American military because 2/3 of our military expeditions are just neo-colonialism. So, you know. And a lot of these people so want to get rid of the woke out of the military, whatever the fuck that means. So they're cool with this. Like, this woke thing that white people have taken from us is so disgusting. Like, I heard a dude say, I hate woke stuff in books. So you hate politically conscious, you hate anti-racist, you hate things that give other groups of people voices to their problems in the real world. So you like people being unaware of the social inequities of society. You like people to be ignorant. Said a lot without saying that much. And see, Republicans know they're not stupid, right? So they know in the black community, when it comes to homophobia, and homophobia in general, it's very palpable. So if I want to get a black person who wouldn't really subscribe to my way of thinking due to the fact that, you know, I'm racist, I can subscribe to them with another form of hatred that we have in common, homophobia and misogyny. And that's where those black men who allow Andrew Schulz to Adam 22s to just do what they want in our culture, because that proximity to whiteness is what they need. Because again, a lot of black men, and out to say for a lot of us, our need to be able to perform patriarchy was an emulation of whiteness in a white supremacist framework. So for some black men, that validation from their white peers solidifies their position in patriarchy. And for a lot of brothers who are still subscribed to patriarchy, the misogyny and homophobia are like package deals. So they know that if they can subscribe to your homophobia and misogyny, you'll let the racism slide because you believe a woman's place is this. You believe gay people shouldn't be there. And that be y'all problem. Y'all, I've been trying to tell y'all for years, the homophobia, the misogyny are some of the most powerful tools of white supremacy. Powerful tools. Literally, uplifting your woman is a weapon against white supremacy. And they know a lot of y'all won't do that. Not saying niggas don't, but they know there's a lot of men who won't do that. So they know that as long as they can keep it to where you still subscribe to the patriarchy wholeheartedly, you will always, even unconsciously, be an agent of white supremacy.
Andrew Schultz's response to Kendrick Lamar is exactly what I would expect coming out of a mediocre white male comedian's mouth. Because all their punchlines are the same, right? It's all violence on this person, violence on that person. That's the punchline for them. It's giving open mic at a dive bar at 12:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. You know, it's like, that's exactly a joke I would hear over there. And people are trying to defend it as a good joke. As a good joke.
So this is all I got from this video. And for those that really do not understand where the conversation of Andrew Cullen saying what he said to Kendrick Lamar, right? Sometime around July, August, right? Some black men, British black men, went to his station or something like that, his show for interview or something like that, and they spoke about black women in a denigrating way, which did not go well with a lot of black men, black women also, and that was not a good one, right? Because why would they sit down with and start talking about black women, right? That went by. I mean, people canceled him, and they did a great job because he is very nosy. And Kendrick Lamar talked about other people, he did not call names, saying these people should not talk about black women in their whatever shows that they have. And I applaud him for saying that, because enough is enough. Black men don't get to tell, or black people do not get to tell them what to do to their women or how to talk to their women. But they always have something to talk about black women or black people in general. If he is a comedian, it's okay to crack your jokes. But when a joke is not funny, that is where you have failed as a comedian or comedy, right? So he has actually failed, because I do not find anything funny about his comedy. And why would he? Now, I think this is not where we have to talk about why is it that black people give these people platform when they do not give us that opportunity? We have given platform, black people have given platforms to so many people, especially these people. I have seen so many of them that in the end, it does not go well. So why do we continue? Why are we continuing to give them platform when we already know what they stand for? So now let's get into what he said in the video. It's really wild that a full-grown man we speak something like that about his fellow man. Now it looks like some people do. I feel like he knew, because but breaking was a thing during slavery. For those that do not know what it means, you should check that out, because I cannot start explaining all of this here, right? But breaking was not a good thing, because it was a terrible thing, that it was kind of a punishment to black men, right? In front of other people. So you can imagine watching another person break you in front of other people. I don't know how to explain this, but it's really not a good thing, and nobody should, whether you are joking or you are trying to make jokes. That's why I said his jokes are not funny. So what makes him a comedian? I really don't get it. So he has the audacity to sit down and talk something like that, like in front. What was actually funny in that conversation they were having? Because I did not see anything funny. Nothing was funny. Nothing was funny. I mean, I don't understand. One thing I have felt is that some people do not think that we deserve mercy, or we deserve to be loved, or we deserve to be treated as every other person, or we are actually equal. That we are the same. Some people do not feel like that because that is a very terrible thing to say, saying that you are going to do that to someone else. Ooh. We should mind the kind of people we give platform. Black people should really be very careful with people they give platform. See you all in my next video. And okay, yeah, before I go, I am going to say shout out to all the men. I know there is nothing as beautiful as seeing black. If you notice, it was mostly black men that spoke here, just maybe 2 women or something like that. And what they were talking about was protecting black women, that they do not have any right to speak about black women. I love that. And the other one say we can criticize black women among ourselves. That is how it should be. I love it for us. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.